First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
So we finally got a little bit of rain.
That foreign stuff, that wet stuff coming from the sky, everybody's like, what is that? You know, it was nice to see. It's refreshing.
God was spitting on my windshield. That's all I got.
Yeah, I know. We didn't think we were going to get anything. I live out off Ramsey, and we got some pretty decent rain out there. Last couple of nights, we've got some decent. I say decent for what we're. This is early for us, so I'm taking anything we can get. But yeah, it didn't look too plentiful there in the city area.
And it's really important that people pay attention to the lightning, because there were 2 fires reported last night. One in Kansas Settlement and one in Bisbee. And the one in Bisbee, they actually set up a command post at called Zacatecas, which is kind of scary if anybody was over there for the past few fires.
True.
But the rain did put it back down, and then they just disbanded in State Lands out there this morning, trying to make sure that they have all that under control. So thanks to all of our firefighting personnel, seriously, regardless of what agency you're in. It's hot, it's rough, and it's a bad time right now with the lightning and other causes of fire. So thanks for all you do.
And June's such a vulnerable time because you say it's dry, a little bit of wind going on here and there, but and we're getting the spits of rain, like you call it, spit. But then the lightning was tremendous last night. So I mean, that's just an equation or recipe of it's going to be a fire. If we don't get some rain, it's going to be a big fire going on here somewhere.
And among the duties that you do, Sheriff, you're also an animal rescuer. Tell us about that.
Well, this is way outside my lane. Let me just say that. But I was coming down Snyder Boulevard the other day, going toward 92, right there by Paseo San Luis, and I see a family of quail. Now, we've all seen them. And then they had the 10 little balls, the little babies, I call them balls, with them. Well, and traffic, how they didn't get hit, I'll never know. But, excuse me. So I stopped, turned my back lights on so nobody would run them. I was trying to get some time to get across the road. The babies, the balls, couldn't get up over the curb. So Mom and Dad did. They got spooked. So they went up and jumped in a tree while the babies were sitting there along the road. So I stopped traffic. I'm trying to – this is my community good deed of the week here. So I stopped traffic. I'm sure a couple of people are saying, yeah, that's why he stopped that traffic. So sorry, people. But so Mom finally and Dad came out of the trees, grabbed 9 out of the 10 babies, and took them across the road and got them across. One didn't make it. That one child didn't make it. So, and no doubt that baby would have been killed. I mean, it was all over the place. So I actually, and I go totally guess, I don't touch wildlife. I respect it. I admire it, but I respect it. So I actually chased it down, got it in my hands, just kept saying, "Don't bite me, don't bite me," and actually took the little quail across the street. Again, I still had a traffic block. So across the street, found the family under a bush as they recollect, and put the baby in there with his children. So I hope that quail has a long, healthy life. I mean, so that was my good deed for wildlife of the week.
Do not go hunting for quail now, because karma would be that would be the one you would get.
Yeah, and I'm not a hunter anyway, but no, I wouldn't. So yeah, I hope this quail avoids all that, because he has an extra chance at life.
Last weekend, you were attending the Boys and Girls Club 25th
anniversary for the Sierra Vista Boys and Girls Club here. Great event. Jay and team over there at Boys and Girls Club, and the community just came out, between businesses, community supporters. It was just a nice event, a way to recognize 25 years. Joe Craps was our first founding president 25 years ago. Obviously, he was there, and it was a really nice event. And I want to thank the community for coming out and supporting that. That's, with everything going on with youth and how we're all collectively coming together in our communities to protect our schools, protect our community venues with youth. Boys and Girls Club is a huge, huge safe place to take kids. So we admire what they're doing over there.
And so you also were busy at the Cattle Growers Association meeting.
Yeah, the cattle growers from Graham Cochise had their annual meeting up in Wilcox Saturday morning. Went up there and spoke to them, and about 100, 200 ranchers and farmers throughout Cochise County and some Graham folks came down, and they do that every year. It's the 9th year. I've been sheriff 9 years, and I've never missed one yet. So, I mean, people forget we're 75% agriculture in Cochise County. We can't forget that. That's what makes up our county. Besides the economic drives that we have here, is truly a lot of agriculture. So my hat's off to all the farmers and ranchers who, I keep saying this, they're the true stewards of the land, because they live off the land when it comes to their quality of life. And so when it comes to taking care of the land, ask a rancher. They'll tell you how to do that.
And you were in Portal yesterday.
I was. And I was notified, excuse me, I was notified that there's a retired trooper from Maryland that lives up in Portal. He's on hospice. He spent his career both in the military and then latter parts as a trooper, serving the communities back east. But sadly, he's on hospice. He's elderly, and he told his chaplain he wanted to talk to the sheriff. So I made a day trip of yesterday, went and spent some time with him and his wife, and it's kind of surreal, I'll just say. I mean, he talked about his days as a trooper, and he worked in Maryland and down some of the streets he was in, some of the confrontations he had, like every cop does, and but just seeing the pride that came out of him when he talked about his memories, and even when he's in the Navy, he talked about that. And so, yeah, it was worth every mile to go see him, and so I wish you well, and I thank him. I know he can't hear this radio station over there, but I thank him for his service, everything he's done.
And you were also busy. Seems like a lot of people in our organization were busy with JailCon this week, but it seemed like it was a really good thing. There were a lot of people. Commander Bradshaw said, he was in a class of 320. That's a pretty good showing.
Yeah, and it's put on by NIJO, National Institute of Jail Operations. It's an accreditation firm throughout the United States. In fact, that NIJO was the group that came in last year that looked at our jail. So their reputation precedes them when it comes to who they are and what they do for jails and correctional facilities. So they had their annual conference in Phoenix. As president of the Arizona Sheriffs, I went up and did the opening speech for them. Welcoming, and then I went up on Wednesday on behalf of the Arizona Sheriffs along with my colleague sheriffs from out the state, and we actually presented awards. So it was a neat award to present to the medical staff member of the year, to our own Megan Kennedy. She's runs our medical within our jail. She does an amazing job. So Megan, congratulations if you're listening to this too. And but it was a very nice conference. Correctional detention officers throughout the United States were there, so it was really cool to see that. And Tate that puts that on, the CEO of NIJO, he just, his passion is all over that, so thank you. And also I want to make a shout out to Commander Kenny Bradshaw. As president of the Arizona Sheriffs, whoever the president is, his jail commander is also in charge of the chair for the jail commanders throughout the state. So Kenny Bradshaw spearheaded that project to work with NIJO to make sure the conference was a success. So Kenny, to you and all your jail commanders, thank you too.
This week, the new recruits that just graduated the academy took active shooter training over here at a local school and church.
Active shooter, we use the ALICE training, and we piloted that along with Sierra Vista Police Department, Cochise County Sheriff's Office, back in, I think it was 15 to 17. We went around this county to every school that went to their schools. We trained educators, we trained youth, we've done community leaders, community venues like the Boys and Girls Club, for example. So we've been all over the place. I think it was 17,000 people in Cochise County, from youth to educators and beyond. We trained them in ALICE, how to address an active shooter scenario. And with the recent Uvalde terrible act out there, and we already had this plan. I'm just going to say this. It's not something we're rebounding from Uvalde. This is something that was already planned. COVID shut us down last year for any active refresher training. This year we're back in it. We started that already, like you're talking about, Grady, and we go all the way through September when it comes to training the new officers and deputies and troopers, to include new educators, kids, just refreshing the training throughout Cochise County. We hope it never happens here. We pray it never happens here, but if it does, we want to make sure we're ready for that.
And Commander Watkins was in charge of that, and Lieutenant Foster stopped by to make sure that he could help out. And so we're going to have some photos for you guys to see how our recruits were there, but pretty intensive training. And Grady was there taking videos, so it was something. It's
really interesting because they have they have role players that are actually in there screaming and yelling to create that atmosphere. So to kind of see that is very powerful.
It is, and that's one of the complaints you've seen. If you know any educator or if you heard about ALICE training, they say it's very intense, almost too intense. But folks, we got to train you to the reality of it. and intense meets intense. And so, yes, it is intense training, but hoping to put you in the mindset of reality if it ever does happen, that you can respond accordingly because you've been trained. You turn back into your training, and training is as good as the polish of it. We got to continue to polish this training, especially in today's world, and because some of our rural schools, as we know, by the time we get there, I mean, we rely on our teachers to defend themselves first.
And Operation Safe Streets is still going on, and it's been a busy week. It
has been, and I wish I could sit there on this microphone and say, hey, we've got it solved. We don't have it solved. I mean, this border is not getting better. It's no secret anymore. It shouldn't even be an opinion anymore. It's a fact. No matter where you go along the southwest border, there are challenges. I just saw yesterday in Santa Cruz County they had a boatload of fentanyl seizure over there. I mean, this is stuff that's killing 300 Americans a day. And then in Texas, I think it was another fentanyl seizure, if I heard that right. So either way, I mean, between drugs, between the violent offenders coming across our border, and just the cartels exploiting our southwest border. In Cochise County here, we're still seeing the pursuits. We had one the other day that started in Douglas, came all the way through. It was like a 60-plus mile chase. They came into Sierra Vista at over 100 miles an hour, spiked the vehicle up there on 90. The night I was out, I want to thank the citizen. I got a text on my phone saying, hey, a newer model blue Honda Civic just loaded up, and our South 92 on their side of Bisbee. So I put it out to everybody. Within moments, the vehicle was stopped by one of our deputies. He saw it for speeding, got in behind it. They took off on the deputy, pulled off for a sec. The illegal migrants jumped out of the car. Then he took off, went into a neighborhood, abandoned the car, and then he ran. I think he was 18, 19-year-old out of Phoenix. The deputies chased him. They found him in a backyard hiding. Scared the heck out of the homeowners because he jumped their fence. We took him to jail for criminal trespass. And the homeowner wanted to pursue it, which is what we need, a victim there. And we took him to jail. And again, his response was, you're taking me to jail? Yes, we are. We don't want you coming here and violating and endangering our citizens. So, yes, he's sitting in our jail now. At the same time, we had another one with DPS. I mean, I think we had 4-5 different smuggling vehicles within an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean, that stuff. It was just, and I tell you, I look at this and I pull up on these stops, and you see them out there, and they're young teenagers or people in their 20s that come down there. And the one guy told me, he's like, well, I just saw it on social media and Instagram. I just thought this was okay. I said, come on, you have to be smarter than that. You can't think this is something that, hey, just come down here and drive. We know. You're picking up people in camouflage laying down the backseat of your car. Does that seem normal to anybody? I don't buy it.
And they're just looking for the money. They truly are.
They're chasing the greed. They're chasing the greed.
And a lot of people, well, not a lot. There's certain antagonists on our social media, whether it's, you're not addressing the true problem. What about elder abuse? Or you're not addressing the true problem. Why don't you put your more money into something else? Or look at how many are getting away while you're doing this. And we say this every time. It's not a matter of like those getting away. It's a matter of doing something.
Well, I look at it two ways. I mean, doing nothing is not the answer. I've said it on this show and many other venues. If we can save the life of one of my citizens in this county from a reckless smuggler driver, or build consequences in this that maybe another organization is not, like the federal government, and I'm not talking about the Border Patrol agents, we're doing something. We truly are. And if I can change the behavior, even the cartel's behavior, get out of my county, or a young teenager that gets sucked up in this through social media, if I can change the behavior of that person. But those kind of comments, we can spend all day trying to debate with irrational people, or we can just serve the majority that totally understand why we're doing it, and that's what we're here for.
And some people are concerned that we have photographs on our Facebook page. And it's not to, be a shaming tool. It's a matter of photographs are powerful, and it tells a story. And it's a matter of saying this is what's truly happening out there. The latest one was the Sierra Vista Police Department got the smuggler, and they actually had him in there in the back of their patrol vehicle. That's important for people to see because they need to know there are consequences.
Well, there are consequences, and that's a reality hit. I mean, they can see what we're addressing out here. I know a couple weapons were found in a traffic stop the other day, and something we haven't seen is one of the smuggler vehicles had emergency police lights in their car. And I just gave you a copy of that, Carol, that you post. But emergency red and blues in the front window of their car. Now, that's just, again, they're trying everything. But the bottom line of the day, this is a criminal crime. It is. It's a criminal organization. It's driving. That's the criminal cartels. There's nothing good coming out of this. There's nothing good coming out of it. And we'll continue this fight. And if people want to criticize, they can criticize. But I'm not turning my head. Border Patrol's not turning their head. Troopers and local law enforcement, Service PD, Douglas PD, all of us are out there for the right reasons, and we'll continue that.
And Sheriff, some of your heroes are teachers, and today there's going to be an open house for Crossroads. First of all, tell us what Crossroads is, and then let's talk about the open house.
Crossroads, and I credit our county superintendent, Jackie Clay, who is, through her office, they have opened this academy, new, excuse me, it's over at Foothills, and it's, I want to make sure I get this name right so Jackie doesn't yell at me, New Crossroad Academy. And this is an alternative school for those that need to get their degree, whether you're an adult, whether you're a juvenile that maybe didn't work in your traditional school and you need to get your education, which I encourage you to do that. Today at 5 o'clock, and it's over at 4001 East Foothills Drive, the old sheriff's office there on Foothills, is their new venue, which is owned by the county, and kudos to Cochise County for helping Jackie get this set up. But that's an alternative way to get your high school diploma. So go see Jackie. Their resources are plentiful over there, but that's at 5 to 6 o'clock today over at New Crossroad Academy.
And they also do some work in our jail as well.
They do. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you if I did. I would have omitted that, Grady. Yeah, they do. They come in our jail. They work with both the remanded juveniles, the juveniles, and the adults for those that want to take an opportunity for whatever happened. It's irrelevant that they didn't get it. And this is an opportunity to get that high school diploma so they can move on to this community.
And some of the other things that people don't understand, maybe what goes on at the sheriff's office, is we have the sheriff's assist team. People see them out and about doing all kinds of good stuff like they do. And one of the things that they do are funeral escorts for veterans. And today they have one such funeral escort. Excuse me. Yeah, today they have one such. Starts at noon. So they're going to be out there. You're going to see a lot of our vehicles.
It's good you bring that up, Carol, because we do. A lot of people ask me, hey, who passed away? I saw a lot of sheriff's cars. That's our sheriff's assist team, our volunteer corps, and they do funeral escorts, do final resting for all our veterans here in Cochise County. So if you see 4 or 5 of our cars, that's what they do. Sheriffs have authority under funeral escorts, under state statute, to do that. And so I'm very proud they do that. I'm very proud of our vets, and to have the honor to escort them to their final resting is truly an honor for our SAT team and myself as sheriff. So that's what you see them out there doing. In fact, the SAT has a chaplain, Dan Majaris, retired colonel from the military after 28 years, and he went with me yesterday over to Portal to be there. But they do so much for this community. And to give you a little side story, we coming through Texas Canyon, and we had a call yesterday of a bandit semi over there. So I told the chaplain, I said, hey, let's go. So we pulled into the rest area, and there was a stolen semi out of California. Well, they just abandoned it. Now this truck was stolen right before Memorial Day weekend, and they went through they stole the radio. You can see where they punched out the ignition, stole the CB out of it, and they just trashed it. They lived in this thing for a while, whoever stole this and abandoned it out there. But it just shows you having an interstate brings in crime like that. So I took the case for the deputy. The reason the deputy in that area couldn't assist on that call was he was on a pursuit down by Tombstone with a smuggler. Kind of gives you an idea. So that's why myself and my staff, we've been helping out with a lot of calls throughout Cochise County. So I went ahead and processed the stolen vehicle call and got that vehicle taken back and called the owner back in California that we got his truck back. But long story short is, so the chaplain was there. So he's like, I knew we wouldn't get far with something like this. Of course not. You're riding with me.
Next week is Flag Day, and you're going to be celebrating with the Elks this Sunday.
Yes, and if you haven't been to the Elks over on Wilcox, crossing the service to Harold, they're having their annual Flag Day ceremony. It's a really cool event. It starts at 2 p.m. this Sunday, June 12th, 2 p.m. The Elks and their annual Flag Day ceremony. It's open to the public. Come out. It's a way we honor our flags, and they do such a great job. They'll have a guest speaker there. I will be there Sunday at 2 o'clock to support the Elks and their ceremony.
When you think about the Flag Day, you think about all of the patriotic things that the people are doing. Take a minute. You see it's hot outside, and you see somebody who maybe can use a bottle of water. Give them a bottle of water. Just make sure that you're just kind to people.
I agree. You couldn't say it better than that, Carol. Is we're in a time that, for whatever reason, the frustrations, the stresses are high. We came out of a health pandemic that didn't help any of us. I'll be the first to admit that. But we do. Let's be kind to each other. And that goes to the way we drive. Truly the way we drive. Because we put our personalities behind the gas pedal and the steering wheel. So let's, and I had a guy the other day, speaking of stop of the week here, heading to an event. He pulls out in front of me on a motorcycle over 100 miles an hour. And I stopped him. And he's like, yeah, I was just opening this thing up. Again, this is 11 o'clock in the morning. You're driving 100 miles an hour in a congested area. I mean, you got to think. And I get it. I mean, we all got a little wild side to us, but the reality is safety first, because your actions now become everybody else's dangers. So, again, slow down, think what you're doing, and be respectful.
And coming up on Monday, the governor's going to be visiting Cochise County.
We have the governor in town on Monday. He's bringing some guests here, which I'm sure will come out later, but next week. But we're honored to host the governor. I got called last week and said we host the governor and some of his guests. You bet we will. So I want to thank J.D. Rottweiler, who's going to be assisting on that, and the many community leaders that we've invited to come out and be part of that event. And so, yeah, the governor will be here again. This is like his... We've seen him 3 times here just recently, and again, I appreciate that because they've been great to support us here on our border challenges, both financially and just the messaging. I think that's so important. So, yeah, Monday we'll be tied up most of the day addressing this. I want to thank my team, Service PD, and the troopers out there as we address our governor coming to town.
This weekend we have an excessive heat warning, so what is your safety message of the week?
Be hydrated. Drink water, folks. Drink water. I have a tendency to drink a lot of Diet Coke. And my wife tells me that's not water. It's close, though. It's close. It's got a component of water. But seriously, drink water. And I can't say it enough. I said this a couple weeks ago, and I even said to my dad, you got to drink water. You got to drink water here. And water is a refresher. So our search and rescue team, they've been out there quite a bit. In fact, they just did some recoveries. Sad to say. Recoveries are not rescues, folks. Off 92, and we know what that was all about. That's our legals that the humanitarian side of it, where they're trying to cross the border to get picked up by the smugglers, and they didn't make it. So they did some recoveries the other day on that. And when you see those texts that, hey, it's a recovery or an injury, we know what that's all about. But we're going to see more and more of this, and we already have. So hydrated, tell somebody where you're at if you're going to be taking a hike, so we know if you don't return, an area where you're at.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks, everybody. Have a safe week, everybody. Thanks, Carol.
And Carol, who do we have coming in next?
We have Judge Jim Conlog from the Cable Group.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Judge Conlog, for being here today.
You're welcome. Happy to be here, and I am a retired judge.
Retired judge. I do that all the time, and I think it's like once a judge, always a judge. Is that how it works?
I'm not sure. I'm still kind of feeling my way through this.
Well, let's talk about the Cable Group. First of all, kind of let everybody know how that works, what it is, who's in it, and we kind of want an overview of the Cable Group.
Sure. Cable is the community advisory board with law enforcement. Our mission is to develop strong relationships based upon mutual trust between law enforcement and residents of Cochise County. We have 12 members. I guess with me it's 13, and we're try to get a diverse group to represent the county. We meet with law enforcement monthly, and just try to go through the issues and bring issues to law enforcement and try to get information to the community.
And one of the things that you guys, well, there's many, many, many things, but one of the things that you are specifically focusing on now is our jail. Just trying to get information, share information, and you're a great conduit for us in law enforcement to be that liaison between us and the community.
Yeah, I think it's an important issue that's coming up, and there are actual issues that need to be developed and decided upon. And that's one thing that we're trying to do. We do come out to the community. We're going to be speaking to the Kiwanis Club later on this month, and that's one of the issues that I'd like to discuss with them, is the jail and the different options that are available there.
And you're out with the Kiwanis, you said. What are some of the other ways that the community might see you guys pop up?
Well, people seem to see me everywhere, and I'm available. And we have a pretty diverse group, and I'm open to meeting with the individuals, groups, or just talking to me in the grocery store parking lot. But we really try to we want to be a conduit between the community and law enforcement. Law enforcement has been wonderful in terms of meeting with us and sharing information. It was really a pleasure to participate in the Top Cop ceremony, and Ms. Capps did a wonderful job on that. It was just a great event.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys doing the reviewing of all of the nominations. It's not an easy task. And you have, 12 different opinions. You have 12 different letters is what we actually looked at. Not we, you. And then you had to select who you believe to be, the top cop out of that group.
Right. It's kind of like dealing with a jury.
Exactly.
Exactly, that's it. So when you guys did the Top Cop, let's go over that for a minute. You guys got to do the voting on that, and you came up with a system on how to do that.
Right.
And then you got to go to the ceremony and actually watch the awards. How was that?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it's a really good event, and it really highlights the things that law enforcement is doing in the county, and we're genuinely blessed with our law enforcement community. Very professional, very caring, and it's just a really good group. We're just so blessed here in this area.
And you have 2 new members that were just voted in. Tell us about them.
One was voted in, and one is automatically a member. We have a new police chief in Benson, Greg Vogel, and we're going to be welcoming him on our next meeting this month. He is very well qualified, and I'm hopeful for him. It's a big job when you step into an administrative role like that, as you know. So, and then we went for a long time without a representative from the mental health, behavioral health community, and I think that's really important. And that's something we're really looking at with law enforcement, and honestly with the jail situation as well. And so we were fortunate that we will have a new member from that area. Her name is Carrie Farrell. She is the local director of Hope Incorporated, and Carrie's local. She is the daughter of Mike and Karen Cass, and they're wonderful people. Mike, I believe Mike was a DPS trooper for a number of years, and I know he was the Justice of the Peace in Bisbee for a number of years. That's where I got to know him, and he was a wonderful man, so Carrie is a great person. I worked with Carrie when I was a judge, and she was worked with the Juvenile Probation Department many years ago. This was in the mid to late 90s. She worked on our Project Restore with me. I'll always remember her for that. She understood what we were trying to do. And so I'm really looking forward to having her on the committee. I think she's going to be a very productive member.
And mental health is on the national stage as well, so it's good to get some local feelers going out even into our jail. As a matter of fact, the Sheriff's Office has a pilot program that's starting up.
Yeah, we do. So, Commander Watkins wrote that grant. The Legacy Foundation funded it. And so we're looking for mental health professionals to join our team and help us do our community outreach like that and address those types of situations. So it's really important that we have that as one of the priorities, and it's glad that the Cable Group is going to have somebody back.
Right. It's essential. We really need to be working on that in this area.
And the Cable Group also puts out articles from time to time. Tell us about those and where we can find them.
Yes, and those are submitted by law enforcement, and the local newspaper, Wick Publishing, is really helpful in putting those in the newspaper, and we try to get them in once a month, and they're in the Wednesday edition of the paper. It's the county-wide edition, so it goes throughout the county, because we get submissions from all over the county. And so, I mean, it's just to highlight the things that law enforcement is doing, and I think that's an important service for the community.
And how can the community get a hold of the Cable Group if they'd like to talk to you and get some information from you or for you?
Sure. We have an email address, cochyscable@gmail.com. It's probably the easiest way, because you can just get right on your home computer and type an email out, and I take a look at those. We have a website. It's built, it's not occupied. So we're getting that together, and that will have a Facebook component, and for some of the more tech-savvy people. And once that gets running, I think we'll have a pretty easy presence.
Well, we thank you for what Cable does for the community and for law enforcement. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
And thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Great to be here.
And Carol, how do they get a hold of us at the Sheriff's Office?
Just go ahead and reach out to cochise.az.gov/sheriff. That's our webpage, or our social media site, Cochise County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Mark J. Daniels. That's our Facebook. It'll take you to our Twitter or Instagram. So we look forward to hearing from you then.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on 92.3 KWCD.